Okay, so kicking off with football now, there are 12 matches remaining for each of the 8 teams in the final round of CONCACAF's World Cup qualifying. That includes Jamaica, who have made a wretched start to the series, losing the first 2 matches of their campaign. We have already started the discussions around where they might have gone wrong and what might still be wrong. Today we discuss some of those issues, but we also tackle what the Jamaica Football Federation, the JFF, and coach Theodore Tapper Whitmore can and need to do to get out of this early predicament. We are joined by one of the JFF's staunchest critics, Craig Butler, well known for his work with the Phoenix Football Academy that recently returned from a successful tour of England, and for bringing Leon Bailey to the forefront of world football. Craig Butler, welcome to the SportsMax Zone, your latest visit of a few that you have had in the past. I just described you off air as contentious, and you had an issue with me calling you contentious, but I'm just suggesting that you have contentious positions, so I don't think it's a misused word. But let me start here though, and maybe the viewers will judge if you're contentious when the show is finished. Your thoughts on Jamaica's performance on Sunday, which was pretty poor, wasn't it?
Well, I feel good to be in the company of Jesus and Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King, all who people thought were contentious when they stuck to what they believed in and did the right thing. So, but at the same time, it was a horrible game. You know, we've been saying the same thing for quite some time. There's no system in the national team. You need a system, a national system of play where people understand each other, or we'll be having a Tower of Babel situation where you have everyone speaking different languages and no one listening. But that is all on the shoulders of the coach. The coach must set that standard, and he must organize his team to become effective.
There was an issue based on the starting roster, Craig, that pretty much set up for some of the issues that you just mentioned. You know, most of the team didn't play the Mexico game just 3 or 4 days earlier, and several of the players were on debut, never before have played at the National Stadium in Kingston. I suspect that there were a few Panamanians who would have played at the National Stadium in Kingston more often than some of those who were representing Jamaica. So I think, to concur with the point that you're making from a cohesive standpoint, it may have been very difficult for Coach Whitmore to get them to play the way he wanted them to play, given, you know, their lack of chemistry, lack of preparation as a unit.
Yeah, but if you have a certain amount of players available, it's up to you as a coach to make the right selection that will be able to work. If you change up most of the players that played in the previous game, what do you expect to happen? Was it a plan to lose this game?
No, I don't suspect it could have been, but I think because the teams in CONCACAF, based on the window that is there now and 3 matches to be played in 6 or 7 days, I think it was a given that the players would have been rotated, and a lot of players would not have been asked to play 3 matches in 6 or 7 days.
Well, the reality to that is that all of these players are playing competitive football, and they are playing 3 matches in 6 or 7 days.
Not quite.
You're playing one in it. If you're playing in the Premier League,
yes.
You're playing in the Premier League, you're playing 1-2 games a week, and you're also looking at playing in the Europa Cup or Champions League if you're there. So you do play 3 games. So you're a professional. You're supposed to do that. What should have happened was the rotation of the team in terms of substitutions. But to change the entire team, it was disastrous.
So what I'm getting is that you would not have made the number of changes that Theodore Whitmore would have made on the day. What else would you have done differently?
Well, the first thing is that I would not have played a game with a 4-4-2 formation with 2 strikers and all midfielders backing off. We gave up the third, the attacking third, and backed off right into the first goal was a prime example of that. Everyone backed off and watched the player shoot in the back of the net. The reality is we're the fastest human beings on the planet. So we'll be fast offensively and we'll be fast defensively. We also have quality in our players. The players that are here were people who day in, day out are dominating the leagues that they're in. This is probably the best on paper Jamaica team we've ever had. You have Mikel Antonio playing for West Ham and dominating, scoring goals left, right, and center. Yeah. But he was not up front. He was backing off into the midfield 90% of the time. Yeah,
Right.
we had players who are much faster than the Panamanians, I'm certain, and we're technically competent. So why would we not play a 4-3-3 where we're running at the players? Why would we not play a quadratic press in defense so that we divide the field into 4 quarters and we pack and press into that quarter? Our foot speed in terms of trying to win the ball is going to be faster. Our tackling is going to be faster than their dribbling. So if we were to play like that, we'd have a better chance of winning the ball. We had no wingers in this game, so there was no isolated 1v1 duels, which we would definitely win easily.
Right. And Craig, we have more international players that will be joining this Jamaica Reggae Boys setup. Do you sense that we'll be posed with the same problem that we were faced with against Panama, or do you sense massive changes as we get ready for Costa Rica?
I don't believe that we need to change the players as much as we need to install and put together a proper system of play. And that doesn't take rocket science. It takes a coach saying, listen, we're faster than them, we have to press them. We have to push forward,
Right.
not back off. We need a winger on the left and on the right and attack 1v1. We need a creative midfielder. We had no creative midfielder on the pitch. After halftime, that Ravel Morrison, who is a number 10, was playing 6.
Yeah.
So how does that work? You have beautiful players, and I like to say beautiful when it comes on to Tyreek McGee and Lamar Walker. Yeah, the only other player that I know that has that quality passing going forward and defense to attack connection, he no longer plays football. He's in dancehall. So the reality of it is, why not push these young players? You have to have a mix, Lance. You have to have a mix. The mix is important, but to sacrifice the quality of our young and opportunities of our young players that are coming up that are going to be great, like Lamar Walker and Tyreek McGee, and not have a competent team on the field, is not good.
Yeah, you've mentioned something about the strategy that Whitmore used. In the post-match interviews I saw with him, he suggested that he had set the team up in the pre-match training sessions to high press, to play pretty much the opposite of what they played on Sunday, suggesting that the players did not execute the plan that he had strategized for the game, which was shifting the blame almost on what the players were doing. So it would suggest to me that your criticism of Whitmore, if I'm to go by what he said, is not fair to him, because that's not what he wanted them to do.
Well, it's all good and well to say that now. Hindsight is what, 2020?
No, but he's saying he said that before the game. He said that's how they trained to play, and then they went out on Sunday and did the opposite of what they trained to play.
Well, that will go to a bigger statement. The players have no respect for the coach.
Right, and then even today, if I am to jump in, Ravel Morrison coming to the, of course, defense of his coach and saying that, the players should do more.
The fact of it, though, is that the players should do more, because I didn't see a lot of fight in those players. And that's what you get when you don't have a proper mix. Players that are born in Jamaica, born here, grew up here, their mothers are in the stands, their sisters, brothers, they walk down the street and the vendor is going to say, hey, ball, I want them. They're going to fight. You might have good quality from overseas, but let's face it, we have to have a proper mix. The fact that Tapper was not able to get the players to press, if that's what he wanted to do, it says that the players now have no confidence in Tapper's decisions. And he either has to make a very strong position in this game against Costa Rica and remove those that weren't doing the job, or he himself will have to be removed.
Yeah, your son Leon Bailey has an injury and wasn't here for the game. Do you think if he had played on Sunday, things could have been different?
I think things could have been different, because there's no way Leon is going to sit back and not try to press. He knows what our qualities are. He knows what he's designed for. He knows what his history is and where he's coming from. And he knows that he is a son of Africa. He knows that his genes were designed for him to run at players and take them on and destroy them. And he would most likely be motivating his other players to do the same. I saw Nana Low in the stands shouting at the players to push forward, push forward. I saw him go down at halftime saying, come on, let's go. You cannot have a situation where everyone is there on the field and it looks like nobody really wants to win.
Yeah. You said something very interesting just now, Craig, because you said that sometimes players who are born in Jamaica, raised here, and have their commitment levels going into an international sometimes can be a little bit different from an adopted player who sometimes is coming to Jamaica for the first time and just being here from a parent's background. Tapper Whitmore said at the end of the game that the team lacked desire. So maybe you are saying some of what Whitmore has said.
You see, you think a Phoenix team could ever look at me and say they're not going to press and work hard? You wouldn't see another player come back. The thing is, the culture system is set by the coach. He has to motivate his team. I didn't see Tapper doing a lot of talking on the sidelines either.
Right.
He never usually does.
Well, he should. Look at the other coaches. Look at every other coach in the world. They're making an effort to motivate their team. They're making an effort to make changes to do what is right, to get them going. And again, we should have no other system but pressing. We should have no other system but a dynamic 1v1 isolation press game. We cannot be in a position where we're backing off, playing clogging a midfield, playing a 4-4-2. That is for people that have no speed.
Yeah. And Craig, that brings me to one of the pressing questions, and this has been on the lips of most Jamaicans. They're calling for Theodore Whitmore to go now. They're saying that, they need a new coach. Do you think that it's too soon and that's unnecessary?
This is a very hard question for me because I really like Tapper. And I really believe that with help, he would be the best person for the job. The problem with Tapper is that he doesn't want any help. Tapper has not had a lot of extensive coaching experience internationally beyond Jamaica. As a player, he didn't play a lot in England either. Yeah? He did well in the World Cup and he's a quality technical player. He really can help the team.
In England, though, with Hull, he had several seasons in England.
Yes, but if you look at the seasons, he was on the bench or in the stands.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you look at something called Transfer Markt, it will show you his amount of playing time. Everybody, the stats of every player is there, including his. Didn't play a lot. Yeah, he was there. He saw the game. The reality, though, is that if Tapper is to become a good coach at a high level, yeah, and I don't accept doing a good job in the Caribbean as a high level. I believe that we can, as a nation, be challenging for a World Cup. We're losing to Panama 3-0. That's not acceptable. If you had a Ricardo Gardner working with the wing backs and Nandi Low working with the strikers, if you had a technical director come in like a Dimitri De Conde, who is willing to come, that is, Dimitri De Conde is the technical director for KRC Genk, who won the KRC Genk, who won the Belgian Pro League, who are consistently in the Champions League and Europa League. If you had someone like that to guide him, he would be probably a great coach because the players do like Tapper. I like Tapper. Yeah? But his personality is very withdrawn most of the time. You can't read him. You can't read his face. And which player is going to play and fight for? When I'm coaching and my Phoenix players see me say, come on, let's go fight. They're going to fight. When Tapper stands on the sideline and his face is like this and you can't read him, it doesn't make for good motivation.
Can we say at this point, though, that his win-loss ratio is the most successful for Jamaican coaches in history, outside of John Barnes and Wendell Downswell, who just had like a handful of jobs? All coaches who have had sustained tenures as Jamaica coach have been inferior in their win ratio to Theodore Whitmore, and that includes René Simoes, Carl Brown, Lazzaroni, Milutinovic. These are coaches who are, several of them, world respected. So is it that you are ignoring Whitmore's record up to this point as a coach for the Jamaica team?
If you are living with sheep and living as a sheep when you are in fact a lion and you're the best sheep there is, it still doesn't say what we should be. And this is a problem. We're accepting less than what to be the
so
winning.
Are you saying that are you saying Simoes was a sheep?
To be the winningest coach in Jamaica. That's being a big fish in a very, very small pond.
No, but I'm just suggesting that we are comparing him with coaches who have global recognition. Yeah. Coaches like Lazzaroni.
I believe.
Coaches like Milutinovic, who coached several World Cup teams. Mexico, Costa Rica. He has been a World Cup coach over and over.
I think the sport has developed a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the players have been getting more opportunities. I think that the players that are currently representing the national team are more experienced, more exposed, playing in Belgium and England and Germany. And I think he has an easier crop to handle. If you want to compare him to a René Simoes, there's no way on earth he could compare to a René Simoes. In the same way that you would have Spain having 75% of the possession and losing 5-1 to a Dutch team that changed the order of tiki-taka football to total football and pressing. So the reality of it is, if you play 1,000 games and you're winning more, but you have never won the league, it makes very little sense to pat yourself on the back. You have a Leon Bailey, a Mikel Antonio, you have a Bobby Reed, you have a Nana Lowe at your disposal, quality players playing at the highest level. There's no way you can turn and look at me and tell me, well, let's look at the amount of times I've played minnows. I'm not satisfied with you beating minnows. You need to be taking us to a World Cup. You need to be challenging Italy and winning.
Yeah. I think most viewers watching on would agree with you, Craig, and I think Whitmore needs to get results because that's what coaches are there for. But at the same time, we have to still understand that Jamaica has been playing World Cup qualifying football for 60 to 70 years now, and it's only once during that period that they actually qualified. So there have been many failures from our coaches in trying to get the Jamaica Reggae Boys to the World Cup. We go to break. We still have a lot more to talk to Craig Butler about, and we'll be back with that after this.
Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and we're discussing Jamaica's hopes of reaching the 2022 World Cup in Qatar after a poor start to their final round qualifying campaign. After losses to Mexico and Panama, the Reggae Boys will be in action on Wednesday against Costa Rica, a team they have beaten just 4 times in 29 matches and just once in a 13 World Cup qualifiers. Craig Butler is still with us as we advance the discussion to what can be done to improve Jamaica's chances in this ongoing campaign, starting with Wednesday's match against Costa Rica. So Craig, I posed this question to you before the break. You didn't give me a straight answer. Is it time for Theodore Tapper Whitmore to go?
No. I think it's time for him to be demoted.
Okay.
I think it's time for a technical director that is at the level in terms of the players that are currently available, that understand tactical football, and that the players will actually respect and listen to. Because it clearly, based off what Lance has told me, that Tapper has said, the players didn't listen to his instructions at all, which means either they don't have a lot of respect for him,
right,
or they don't believe in what he's saying. So the fact of it is that you do need to change where we are today. Tapper if he is to stay, will have to learn to listen.
Yeah.
He will have to learn to utilize the concept, to get used to the concept. Tapper wasn't a fast player, so he played a very calm, knocking game. But the fact of it is that we have really super fast, strong, skilled, and creative players at our disposal.
Right.
We should be playing the game in the opponent's half, not backing off into our half. So for the next game that you have, Mr. Tapper, I would suggest, if I were you, you put people on the pitch that's going to, one, listen to you, and you listen to me. You need to press. You need to go and look up what is quadratic pressing, get the team to press in the quarters, and you need to play 4-3-3, use two wingers and a striker, and you need to push the team up and have a player like Lamar Walker or Tyreek McGee in the attacking midfield role, stringing those passes to the wingers. Simple.
Right, Craig, and we don't want to give away our tactics when we're getting ready to face Costa Rica. So I'm going to ask you this one. Apart from talking about Whitmore, where does the JFF, where do you rank them in all of this that's happening?
The reality, though, is the JFF is young and evolving in terms of their football and where they need to go. The whole history of the organization has been rife with a good old boys club, and they're trying to change it. And I see where they're trying to change it, but it needs to be more effective and to start having a panel in selection of players. There's been so much unfair selection of players. Leon Bailey didn't play for Jamaica until he was 20. He was here, he was available for the under-17s, the under-20s, the under-15s. He was never called. Of the players that went to Aston Villa and beat the champions of England under-18, 5 of the starting players could have played in Jamaica's under-15 that went and was dismal in Puerto Rico, I believe. Dominican Republic.
That's right.
That were dismal. 5 of those players could have played in this national 15, under 15. They were not called. The reason was, we didn't have time to recruit. Our players that you see playing here are at the highest level. If you hear what the Aston Villa coach had to say about these players, he was in shock. Now, between Tapper and JFF, you need to embrace the players, you need to embrace Phoenix, you need to embrace the philosophy that has been shown to and proven over the last years. We have 23 players that have played for the national, that have gone on to play professional football. Yeah? Some of the players you do know, but don't even know that they originated in Phoenix. Like Romario Williams, for example. And we need to put a proper system of development in place, recruitment, and training.
Yeah, I'm listening to you carefully, Craig. I'm getting from you that if that system is put in place, there would not have to be this over-reliance on these Jamaican parentage players that we keep drawing for from the UK.
Absolutely not. And I don't think that we should have players asking us to play, not us going out to recruit them. It's the worst thing you can do. We should have players that say, listen, I want to play for Jamaica.
Yeah.
Not you going out and chasing them. Because when you go and chase them and they come, it's the king that came.
To be honest with you, I think I saw some of that on the field on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Because the players look, in some cases, looked unhappy. I'm not sure what they would have been unhappy about. But they didn't look comfortable. They didn't look very committed. They didn't look aggressive. They didn't look urgent. And it was a pretty sad commentary for Jamaica team playing at home to be so outskilled and outplayed by the Panamanians. Having said that, Craig, I'm not suggesting that Panama isn't a good team, because they are, and they played well. But the Jamaicans completely surrendered and looked, like schoolboys playing against a professional unit.
It's funny that you say schoolboy. The player that scored that goal from 30 yards out is Xander Bicknell. He went to Campion College. And he never played any Manning Cup or anything like that.
Of the footage that we just saw?
Yeah.
That's your Phoenix team in Aston Villa. When was that? Last week?
Last week or so.
Yeah.
And he was on Sky Sports with them saying he's a gem. Now this guy has a bright future. There's a difference between schoolboy football and developing the player to become a professional. We need to put the two of them together. We need to understand the importance of it to the future of these players. Yeah? Schoolboy football runs 3 months. After the 3 months, that's it. What happens? The rest of the world is playing 11 months out of the year. Yeah? And we wonder why, at the end of it, we don't deliver products locally that are capable of representing us well, and we have to go to the foreign countries to get their sons to come and play for us because their grandmother is from our country.
Yeah.
No. We need to develop our own. That's like someone, you ever hear the saying? Eat what you grow and grow what you eat? Yeah? COVID is teaching us that lesson now.
Yeah. Can you say something positive, though, going ahead for this World Cup qualifying campaign? Because, to be honest, in the 1998 successful campaign to France, the Jamaicans had lost 2 of their first 4 matches and drawn 2 of their first 4. So they didn't get a win until their 5th game. So they were behind the 8 ball, but recovered. When Trinidad and Tobago qualified for the 2006 World Cup, they had just 1 point from their first 3 games, but they were able to recover. Can the fans of Jamaican football be confident that there's hope that this team can recover and challenge for a World Cup spot?
There's more than hope. I've said this is the best team on paper that Jamaica has had. Now, how you put those players together, how you fight for what you have, how you engender that fire, that passion, Tapa, you have to start talk. You have to start believing. You have to start showing that belief, and you have to believe in the players and the system enough. We lost against the US, yeah? But to me, that was the best game we have played in a long time.
Yeah, we should fight.
Yeah? They were pressing. Corey Burke was up there running his heart out, but the problem is the coach didn't know how to organize the press. Yeah, into a quadratic press, so you press in quarters, not one man running across the whole field. But for me to say something positive, I can tell you, I believe in this national team, and I believe we'll qualify. And I believe that if we just simply, you have different kinds of cars, right? You have a truck, you have a Jeep Wrangler, and you have a Ferrari Testarossa. You don't take Ferrari Testarossas and try to pull a trailer with it. Yeah? And you don't take a truck and try to run a race. We are Ferrari Testarossas. Do not back off. Press. Run. Isolated one-on-one. Run at the defenders. My grandmother can beat any other grandmother in the world if you put her in a race, simply by genetics.
Yeah. So
let's do this.
Right, and we're getting ready. It's the eve of that big match against Costa Rica. You know, I want you to just give us your assessment of where we are in the grand scheme of things as we just get prepared for tomorrow.
I think we're looking, the players are dissatisfied. I think the players, the local players, there's also a big divide between the local players, I think, and the players from overseas. And I think that is so sad because they're all Jamaicans. And we all need to work together to get it. I'm grateful that all of these players came to represent our country. They had options, they had different choices, and they came here. Now, Tapa and the team, you need to put your heads down, put it together, fight for our country. Fight for all of us that are sitting here and believing in you, and do what you know is best for the team to win. And that is the pressing game. Yeah, I think we'll do that, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and just before you go, Craig, is there any disappointment on your part regarding a comparison between what happened prior to the 1998 qualification of the Jamaica Reggae Boys, where the entire country fell behind the team? René Simoes was able to garner the support of the government, the opposition party, the entire private sector. It was a buy-in from the entire country. I never saw that before nor since for a World Cup qualifying campaign. It's obviously not there now, and I'm suggesting that that was part of the reason why that campaign was successful.
You know, Lance, you actually told me before this started that you actually used to commentate on my Manning Cup matches when I played.
Yes.
So it means then that you also know I was the biggest sponsor of the 1998 World Cup.
Biggest?
With Toshiba, the biggest. Sponsored the 1998 World Cup campaign for Jamaica with Toshiba. I was a GM for Toshiba at the time.
Yeah.
And I put my money behind the team, and I created what's called the Adopt a Player program. I adopted Peter Cargill, paid him a salary, taught him how to manage his business, and encouraged the rest of the people I knew in corporate to do the same. The fact of it is, Rene Simoes and Tapper are two different people. But if Tapper was to try and take a little bit out of the page of Rene Simoes in terms of motivating, in terms of speaking positive, in terms of smiling, I don't think I've ever seen Tapper smile. Yeah? You know, motivate your team. Half of football is loving your coach and playing for your coach. Yeah? When I say let's go, Phoenix will go. Yeah? To hell and back if we need to, with nothing. Tapper needs to motivate the team. I don't say the comparison.
Yes.
Yes, we can and we will win. Because
Right.
I believe we are going to win these games. Yeah? And this is what great stories are made of. What we do need to do as a nation, though, is to get behind them. You can't fire Tapper now. You're right in the middle of everything. Yeah? But at the same time, Tapper can't continue business as usual. He has to give. He has to bring in people to help him. Paul Hall is supposed to be, Paul Hall, right?
Yes.
He's supposed to be a part of the team. And I don't see him sitting on the bench all the time.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Why is he here? Come on, get up. You were a part of that 1998 World Cup team too.
Yes, he was.
Motivate the players. Yeah? And motivate them to go beyond what you know, Tapper. Go beyond what you used to play. When we when we used to play under Rene Simoes, because the whole country used to play, we played Brazilian football. Samba, tack, 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 tack. The world has changed. You can no longer play Brazilian football. You can no longer hang back. We have something that the world doesn't have, and Leon Bailey has shown that.
Yeah. Craig
Yeah?
Butler, great having you on the SportsMax Zone, and the entire Jamaica football fraternity is hoping that they can be as positive regarding Jamaica's chances as you have been. Thanks for being with us. Four matches in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying coming up on Wednesday. Mexico up against Panama. That's a top of the table clash. Honduras will host the United States. Canada are also at home to El Salvador. And of course, the Jamaica Reggae Boys on the road against Costa Rica. And Mariah, a lot of hope from the Jamaican standpoint that they can get a result in Costa Rica. At least not a defeat, I would hope.
Definitely, Lance, and I feel as if, they do the necessary changes. Of course, they listen to the criticisms and they take the positive aspects out of it. I think that we have a fighting chance. I know Costa Rica, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, we just have to show up and do what we need to do, not make the same errors as before. And I think we'll have a fighting chance.
Still to come on today's SportsMax Zone, we will preview track and field's Diamond League finals and tell you how a win isn't just a win for some. It could mean their spot secured for a 2022 Eugene World Championship. And we talk CPL cricket and how the Knight Riders, the TKR, rolled over the Tallywas in St. Kitts earlier on Tuesday.